Boy, am I excited, if you cannot tell by my voice. For those that have been with us for a while, or it maybe even joined within the past couple of months, you heard me make reference to the Angel Lunar Planner. This is the book, and I will do a whole breakdown of this book, how I came up with the idea, how I created it, and the details of this planner. This is not a regular planner. This planner is a planner for those that are looking to start, inform, and continue a healthy spiritual practice. We have planners for to keep up with our daily busy lives, planners for business, planners for weight loss, all these different types of planners. But what about planners for our spiritual practices? So the Divine Spirit, God gave me this idea to start this planner here. For I was looking for a planner that I could put my spiritual notes in, the lunar cycles. So you do have planners that track lunar cycles, but I really needed all of this stuff in one planner. So this is not the type of planner that you will have your laundry, to do your laundry, to go grocery shopping, all that regular mundane stuff that is very important, but however, this planner is not for that. This planner is strictly a teaching tool and a habit tracking tool for your spiritual practices. I also like to pair it with my Divine Oracle cards, which you guys probably already know about. Those that have already purchased those ones, thank you so much for that. But I like to use these in conjunction with this planner. So this is a system. So in order for you to really understand how this planner works, you have to really grasp the idea of the lunar cycles. So it's broken up into 8 parts with the lunar cycles, and each part has like a little small something that you can do to help you form your spiritual practice. And with this spiritual practice, it's surrounded around your goals. So first you have your big 30 goals, your top 30. Those are the top 30 goals you want to manifest in the next 5 years. From there you have your annual goals, and those annual goals, you pick 10 from your top 30 goals, and from there you break it down to each cycle. And that lunar cycle lasts for an entire season, like a zodiac season. So you go from Aries all the way to Pisces. And I do it that way because esoterically, the new year begins in the spring, spanning from the spring equinox all the way to the first new moon in Aries. Aries is that projecting energy, is that force that you need to be able to build upon. It's like a fire energy. You have to be able to have that passion to be able to push forward throughout the 12 cycles of the year. It's like a fresh beginning in the spring. I start off with a 21-day reset, which I will go over when I open up the planner and let you guys peep into that. So everything will be time stamped here, also in the description box. I formed the idea out of necessity, and it really started about like last year as I was studying more about lunar cycles, and I was like, I sort of feel like something is missing. I was doing, of course, like my sacraments, and I found myself missing like preparing for some of the moons, because of the fact that I would get so busy. And before I know it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's right. In the next couple of days, it's going to be a new moon, or it's going to be a full moon, or it's going to be, the moon is going to be in my sun sign. Oh, I did not plan for that. And it's a whole esoteric reason surrounding the moon being in your sun sign and health benefits and all that stuff like that. So I really needed a place to really track it, because I got tired of taking my regular planner that had a mixture of my regular errands I had to run and appointments and recording and all that stuff, and trying to put my spiritual stuff there. It was becoming too crammed. Then I have my journal where I was taking track of my daily divination. I'm like, I really need a place for all of this stuff to go so I can keep track of it, so I can look back and review the cycles that are playing out in my life. And that's another great benefit of having the planner, is that you're able to look back over the astrological events. You're able to look back over all of the different new moons, the equinoxes, the full moons, the solstices, and see some of the things that you documented. Another benefit of this planner, it serves as a journal too. For every equinox, solstice, new moon, full moon, I have journal prompts and a journal sheet that goes with it. This is a teaching tool as well, because I have in the back a whole glossary of angels, of oils, herbs, divination tools, divination practices. You can really use this as a way of how to start a spiritual practice, but also how to expand your spiritual practice. It has a daily habit tracker, and it's a spiritual habit tracker. So let me show you the inside of the planner. Okay, so I wanted to go over a little bit about the Angel Lunar planner. You may see a little bit of oil there for me having it on my altar in the back. All right. So we have a little bit of the intro, a tad bit about the ministry, just a little bit, and more so about the purpose. So this is important to really review this information so you would know how to use the system. It's a system that goes along with the planner. So it's not like a traditional planner, of course. So a little bit about what's inside of the planner. First, as you can see, I have not finished mine at all. The top 30, which are the 30 goals you want to master over the next 5 years. That's important to have so that way you will know what to work towards. Then from there, you choose your top 10 for the focus on the annual cycle. You have your master goals, which are the top 30 goals. Then from there, you have your annual goals, which are your top 10. And from there, you have your sub goals, which I will go over later. Here we have the 21-day reset, the big reset. The reset is important because of the fact that it usually takes 21 days for it to break and or form a new habit. So the 21-day cycle, regardless of when you receive the planner and you start this, is a cleansing process to reset your mind frame and make yourself conducive for the changes that you want in your life. Now we have the 8-part cycle. So the 8-part cycle, first, the number 8 is about rejuvenation and transformation, as above, so below. So here, without going into too much detail, I like to use the analogy of a farmer. So a farmer plants and produces. Here in the 8-part cycle, throughout the lunar cycle, is divided up into 8 parts, because you're going to go on a subconscious and physical journey throughout these 8 cycles. Use it. Now, this is what I was referring to. I sort of kind of briefly went over the stages. So with these stages, or the phases of these cycles, it gives you a list of different things that you would do during these phases. These letters up here, they represent, later on in the planner, I will show you what they represent. So important astro dates for 2021 and 2022, and the Mercury retrogrades for these years, and what the Mercury retrograde is, what is Mercury and what is Mercury retrograde. Each one of the cycles has a page at the beginning of the cycle. Here we have Aries season, the force, the symbol of Aries and the ruler, the dates, the traits, and the tarot card, so that people that want to get into tarot want to learn a little bit more about it, so they can learn about the cards and which card goes with what season. They could learn about the astrology and the different traits according to the season and according to the individual. And we have the ruling angels of the season, as well as the anatomy. So the anatomy, Aries rules the head. The anatomy is important because if you want to get into medical astrology, that could be a beginning for you. It could also be if you are starting to experience certain types of ailments or discomforts in your body at certain seasons, you can track that. Or if you want to heal certain aspects of your body during a certain time, you could use this as a gauge. Beginning of the month, we have here a page that goes over the important planetary info. We have the little mini calendar that lets you know about the important astrological dates that are coming up, which I just deal with mainly the moons, the solstices, and the equinoxes. For each season, I have a section for the I am statement. And it's your one word, like your powerful word for that month to help you embody that energy. I have my top three goals for this season that I'm going to work with. Here you have your mini envisions. So an envision is like something that you visualize, but it does not just come from outside stimuli. It comes from intuition. Here you could cut out a little mini photo and put it there, almost like a little mini vision board, or you could draw it. So I do have a sigil section in the back, and I will get to that later. And then you have your affirmation that goes with each one. So that affirmation is something that you would say daily. For each new moon, solstice, or equinox, you have this page here. It's a synopsis of the energy for that moon activity or that equinox or that solstice, the sign that it's in, the date, the season that it's in, and then journal prompts along with the journal sheet. Got mine just recently, so I have not filled mine all the way up, but you can see I already had started. Like how I was saying before, we are currently in the resting phase here. And each one of these little bubbles will let you know what phase that you are in so that you can keep track. Because each phase you have like a little something to do to help solidify that envision in the mind and in the body so you can subconsciously start to carry it out. So with the daily habit tracker, I'm going to use a blank one. Here we have the date, the phase that you're currently in. You have a note, a morning note to self. This could be maybe a message that came through in a dream. This could be the first thing that came to your mind when you woke up. This could be where you put a gratitude note or the prominent thought that you want to have throughout the day. If you decided to do a ritual, what was that ritual? It could be as simple as pulling a tarot card. It could be as simple as lighting a candle or an incense. It could be a really simple ritual. This section could be also used for when you are doing a bigger ritual on the new moons and or full moons. I have a space here for astral events. So astral events could be something that personally caters to you. If you have an important astrological event that's coming up, if that's important to you, or if it is that you're getting into astrology or you may be heavier into astrology, you can put your astral dates here. I believe that it is important to keep track of the cycles that take place in your life astrologically because you can start to pick up on patterns in your life. That's the purpose of astrology, for it to pick up the patterns that take place in your life and predict the future patterns. All right, now here we have more of the habit tracking where we have meditation, 1 minute all the way to none, all the way to an hour or more. Prayer, study, which would be self-study. This is nothing dealing with like, oh, did I study for school? Did you read a spiritual book? Did you listen to a podcast, a spiritual podcast, something that will help you spiritually grow? Affirmations, how long did you say your affirmations? Your goal, your personal goal, and once again, dealing with your spiritual goals that came from your overall sub goals list for this cycle. Did you work on them? How long did you work on them? And fasting, just in case you decide that you want to do a fast, you have how long you fasted and the different types of fasting, which I will get to later on in the planner. Planning and reflecting. It's very important to take this time out for reflecting on your day, reflecting on how things may have played out in your day, any signs or synchronicities. I have a section for that. And planning for the next day is important, is very important for making sure that you are prepared for your day. And a night note to self. This I use for if a message came throughout the night, or if it's a message that I want to really send to myself in the dream state, because the dream state is when the subconscious mind really comes out and really starts to play. So the daily habit tracker goes all the way to March 22nd, and it's a little reminder to get the next planner. Now let's get to the glossary. So I have a glossary for the types of divination, and there's plenty of divination practices. So people could use this to maybe help elaborate on their personal divination practices that they already have, or if they want to learn a little bit more about some other ones that they want to experiment with. A list of oils and herbs. And I divided them up according to what people may want to use the oil or the herb for, and there's different properties. Here we have the angel and psalms section. This is also divided up according to what a person wants to focus on, prosperity and abundance. And you have the different psalms that will be paired with the universal laws. We have a list of angels that will deal with prosperity and abundance, wellness and health, love and relationships, protection and banishing. I have a small glossary of crystals. Zodiac. Zodiac is split up according to the season, and it has the statement, I am, and the positive and the challenging aspects for each and every one of them. Here with the wheel, it lets you know the polarity of each sign. Here we have the planets and the planets in the day that they rule to work with those planetary energies on a specific date. We have the colors and how to utilize these colors, what color for what you're trying to do, a whole glossary with that, a glossary for the days of the week. And I break them up in different ways, so that way if someone wants to know, like, okay, I want to work on this day of the week, but I also want to know what color and how to best utilize this energy, they don't have to try to put everything together. They can just go to that section. Here I have a glossary of about 20 angels along with the tarot card. Some people want to get into tarot and learn a little bit about tarot, or either if they want to utilize that tarot card to work with that angel. The day of the week, the name of the angel, what you can utilize that angel energy for, and the color. I have the spiritual tools section. Breaks down what an altar is, all the way to divination elements and the different spiritual tools, very common spiritual tools that people use. Along with the spiritual tools is the section for petitions. Briefly go over what a sigil is. Here, the prayer section and the different types of prayers, different types of meditations, fasting, the different types of fasting, and what I was mentioning before with the 12 universal laws. And these are important to know about and how they operate in your personal life and how to utilize them in your sacraments. A section for clearing. And clearing is very, very important. Clearing and cleansing. As you're dealing with energy, that there could be energetic parasites or just like lower energy that you want to clear out beforehand that can affect your energy. How to utilize the sun and the moon for purifying and programming your spiritual items. The sigil section. A sigil is pretty much, I like to say, a picture, a prayer, like a prayer that's a picture almost. I did go over how to make a sigil, which was back there previously that I went over. This whole section is where you would do your sigils. So if you are working on about 2 to 3 goals for that lunar cycle, that you will put your sigils back here. And a sigil speaks to the subconscious mind. What I do, I have this in my personal journal. That's where I came up with the idea that every night before I go to bed, I look over my sigils. And it's like me saying a prayer for whatever it may be without having to say it. So I suggest that, you do your sigils back here every night. You look over it before you go to bed. Bam, your subconscious mind is working on it. The research was one thing too, because although I had a basis, of course, in tarot and in the Bible, dealing with Psalms and in angels, there were a lot of other angels that most people don't know about that can be a benefit to helping you with your spiritual practices, helping you be able to connect to your guides and connect to your intuition. So I have a glossary of angels, about 20 angels. Of course, there's hundreds of angels, but about 20 angels, and they correspond with the tarot, correspond with days of the week, correspond with the different cycles, the different zodiacs of the month, the different zodiacs. So you can really work with these angels and really work with this energy. Angels, aka angles, different perspectives, being able to really work with that energy. So the research was one whole thing. I had to make sure that I had everything lined up, that I was making it as easy to use as possible and as knowledgeable as possible, so people can really get a benefit out of it. Canva is a really, really good tool. I really do like using Canva. It keeps all your documents. They have endless graphics and photos that you can use. There was a lot of writing that I had to do. I had to do all of the graphics myself. Next time around, I do plan on using a graphic designer. I do want to have sort of like the same template. I probably would just have them log into my Canva and do it, or just send them the information and design it, because a lot of it also entailed me going back through and designing and lining things up, as there was no template for any of the things that I was using. So I had to do everything from scratch. I had to build the design from scratch. Another thing about Canva is that it only exports up to 100-page PDF, and the book is 231 pages because of the daily habit trackers. I had to use a different tool for it to be able to merge everything together. The process was pretty lengthy. However, whenever you're doing something for the first time, things can be a little lengthy. Things can be a little trying because you're putting everything together. So if you do plan on doing a planner, that they do have planner templates on Canva, so I do back up and say that they do have that, but not the type of ones that I wanted. I had to build mine from scratch. But if you want to do a planner, you could do a planner. And if you want to write a book or anything like that, you can definitely do it and use Canva as a resource. I always think that that's a good resource to use. However, they don't have spell check on there. So you have to make sure that maybe if you're doing long form typing, that you type it up in a Word document. You could just copy and paste it into Canva. The first time that you're doing something, it's going to be more upfront work. But once you set that template, you can just use it over and over again. So my next time that for the 2022 and 2023 planner, I plan on doing things a little different. I had to use Amazon print on demand for publishing for two different reasons. One is because this was my first planner project, and I wanted to make sure that I eliminated a lot of upfront costs. So that way, print on demand was probably like the best option, because this is my first time, doing a planner. Another reason why is because of the timing. I started at the idea, although I formed the idea through mainly using my Patreon members and getting the cycles and putting all that stuff together, sort of putting out there and getting in the habit of using the cycles and stuff. I pretty much started working on this project around January. By that time, according to in our Western culture, the new year already had begun. So another drawback was the fact that of timing. So although my whole philosophy and ideology surrounding the new year is that of spring, I still have to have time to be able to do all the graphics and put everything together. Majority of my audience is from the United States, so I have to keep that in mind. Using Amazon print on demand was the best option this time around. However, next time around, I do plan on using an outside source that I will have physical hard copies that I could sell from my website, or either from Amazon. Another thing with the print on demand is that the printing cost can be a lot more, especially if you're doing it in color. Plus they have their own markup. But if you pay up front, get a bulk order, and you sell, you keep more of the profit, and the printing costs are less. But there is more of a gamble with being able to sell your product, get it out there, and also a possible loss when you have a hard copy of something, because you have to be able to house it, you got to be able to ship it, you got to be able to advertise it to get people to view the product and then even purchase the product. So I think that this was a best option for my personal situation, And it could even be a good option for you if you're just getting your idea formed and you want to test the waters out, that this is a good way of how to get your product out to the market without a whole lot of upfront costs and risk. Thank you guys so much for sticking around and checking out the Angel Lunar Planner, helping you to form and maintain a healthy spiritual practice. If you're interested in purchasing the planner, the link will be listed down below. I also have a black and white interior one coming that is less cost. This one is a little more expensive, of course, because of the number of pages, plus because of the color. It's actually in color. So there'll be two different options where I have the color and then the black and white, so you can take advantage of using the planner without so much of the cost. All right, so this is Ashley for FD 1111 Ministries, where we help people ascend and connect to their divine purpose using the modalities of tarot, Bible, and alchemy. Make sure that you subscribe. I have another video about how I created the Ascended Bible Divine Guidance cards. If you're interested in those, those will also be listed down below. And feel free to subscribe because we have more information surrounding esoteric mystic knowledge using, of course, Bible, tarot, and alchemy. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.